So today is pasture planting day, and then this is all the seed that I have. I bought quite a bit of this, and then I had a few bags left over, and I'm just going to use everything I got. It's quite a variety that we're going to be planting in the pasture today. So most of these bags are pre-made pasture mixes. That means there's probably 4 to 6 different types of seeds already mixed up inside. And then I've bought 4 different pasture mixes. So I've got quite a variety here. So as far as like grass is concerned, we've got several varieties of tall fescue, orchard grass, timothy, bluegrass, and perennial ryegrass. So about every type of grass that you could plant we got. And then as far as legumes are concerned, we've got medium red clover, we've got some Asdike clover, white clover, and we've got alfalfa in this mix. So it should be a fairly diverse pasture when we're done planting today. So we're going to be using the 3-point spreader to spread all this grass seed today. And to mix this up, I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to basically take scoopfuls of each bag and throw them in here and just kind of keep adding to it, and I'll just kind of mix it up inside of the hopper. I'm just going to start putting it in layers. Most of it's pre-mixed anyway. I'm going to say I've got about 2/3 of the pasture seed in here now. It's probably enough to get started. So the plan is to start spreading seed going east and west, and then once I get the entire field covered, I'm going to come back in here, put the rest of the seed in here, get it mixed up. I'm going to go back and do it one more time going north and south. And then hopefully going both directions we'll have good coverage, and hopefully I have enough seed to be able to do that. So to adjust these gates, there's actually 2 of them. To let the seed fall out, you got a little lever here, and then you've got holes to put your pin in. So my understanding is these outside holes, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then these are like the halves, like 1.5, 2.5. So we're gonna start out on 3.5. So hopefully this is a light enough of an application that we'll get 2 full passes and not run out early. After we get the first pass done, we'll have a better idea on whether this is the right setting or not. So I just got done going over the field for the first time. I think we had the seed somewhere like up in here, and you know, we've used about 8 inches of it, but there's more seed at the top of this than there is at the bottom just because it's cone shaped. So I'd say we've used at least half, maybe a little bit more than that. So at this rate, it's going to take us probably at least 3 times to go over the field and get it planted. So what I think I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of the seed in here if it'll fit, and we'll up the seed rate from 3.5 to 4, and we'll go over it the other direction. I think we're about back up to where we started. All right, I just finished the second pass on the field, and as we look in the hopper, you can see we've just got a little bit of seed left, so that's good. We didn't run out. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and go up and down the field, around the perimeter, just a few times just to get rid of the rest of the seed. And then we can move on to the next step. Oh, right in my face. So while I was spreading grass seed today, I used an app on my phone. It's called Field Navigator. You do have to pay a monthly fee to have it. I typically just get it for a month and then I cancel it. But it maps out where you've been, where you've driven, and you can set up how wide that your implement is or how wide you're spreading. So I just set this up as 20 feet wide, and I used it to map where I had been to kind of guarantee that I did get complete coverage today. So I'll put a couple pictures of this up on the screen. This first one, that is going to be after I got done going east and west across the field. You can see the path where the tractor has gone, so you can kind of tell where you've missed, you can kind of tell where you've overlapped. And the second one is when I was going north and south across the field, and I tried to do a U-turn at each end, and you can't quite U-turn quick enough. So you end up overcompensating, get a bunch of overlap, or you don't turn enough, and then you miss some spots. But this at least lets you know where you missed, and you can go back and try to re-hit it. So I think it's definitely helpful. When you're done, you can look at the screen and you got a good feeling that at least you got 100% coverage. So the next step is to go back over the field with this packing roller, and you can see it's an older one. It's got these kind of like V-shaped packing wheels. Like newer ones are more flat, and these wheels are cast iron, so I'm not sure exactly what this weighs. I think it weighs a decent amount. It's heavy enough that it'll press the seed down into the soil, good seed to soil contact, so it germinates better. It'll kind of smooth everything out. And the other thing that I hope that it does is I hope that like some of these bigger pieces of clay, I'm hoping that it'll kind of crush those and break those into smaller pieces. But I think overall when we're done with this, the field will be fairly smooth. All right, I just finished rolling the field. That took a good couple hours to do, but now if you look at this, the whole field has like these little furrows from those rollers. And I think it helped flatten everything out. It helped break up some of the bigger clods of dirt and work in that grass seed. So we're done. This is all we can do now. So one thing we can do is just pray for rain and hope that it all germinates and comes up and we have a pasture in the spring. I'll tell you what, I am really glad that this is done and over with. This has been probably one of the dustiest jobs. I've washed this tractor off like every day for the last few days, but it's just extremely dry, extremely dusty, and it's my whole like everything over here at the house, like you can, like the roof, all the vehicles, like everything is just covered in dust from working this field over and over. And I'm glad it's done. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But it's just so dry. And we're actually under a burn ban, which is rare. It's kind of rare for our area to have one. I don't know when the last time we actually had rain was. I mean, it could be almost a month ago since we've really had any rain. So hopefully we're gonna get it tonight. So the rain forecast, it just keeps changing. Of course, this is like hurricane or tropical storm, what was it, Francis or something, that's come up from the Gulf of Mexico. And now the chance of rain is 91%, which is actually a little higher, but the amount of rain has gone down. So it's only like 0.3 of an inch, at least on this app. And yesterday it was predicting like 3 days of rain. Well, now it's only just like 1 day of rain. So I guess in my mind, the rain forecast has gone down. So now all I gotta do, I guess, is wait, and we'll know pretty soon. By tomorrow morning, we'll know whether we're gonna get enough rain or not. So we have gotten some rain today. It's been intermittent. It sprinkles, it's like more of a mist right now. Probably can't see it in the camera, but it is coming down. And then every once in a while we'll get where it's more like rain, where it's coming down. But everything's been gentle. That's good. You really couldn't ask for better than that. You want like kind of a nice gentle rain so that you don't wash away all this loose dirt. If we end up getting like a thunder shower and a bunch of rain all at once, we would probably wash out in some areas. My only concern is I don't think we're getting possibly enough rain. I'd like to get some more. It just seems like we just got very little. So as we look out here at the soil, I'm gonna try to pull this back. And in there, right there, see it's dry. So we're only got like about a ½ inch maybe of soil, you know, of the moisture soaking into the soil. So I don't think we've got quite enough yet. I would like to see, you know, at least the first couple inches. I mean, you gotta keep in mind this is loose soil. So it'd be nice to at least have the couple inches, you know, saturated with moisture. So keep our fingers crossed. Hopefully it's continue to rain for at least the next few hours. So it's a couple days later now. We did end up getting rain for probably 8 to 10 hours, somewhat intermittent. And I'm not sure exactly how much rain we got. I'd say at least a ½ inch. And we haven't got any rain since then. And it doesn't look like there's any rain in the forecast for now. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Hopefully by the time that germinates, we'll get some more rain and it will be a nice pasture in the spring. Hopefully we didn't waste all that grass seed, so we'll just have to wait and see how it all turns out. But yesterday we spent all day long processing chickens, and we've got the freezer filled up with chicken, and we cleaned up most of this stuff last night. I got to get this all put away. And this little like chicken pasture that we built here right behind our house, I got to get the netting picked up and put away, chicken tractor, turkey roost, got to get this all put up, and then probably mow this area down, get essentially our backyard, get it back to the way it used to be. So if you look in this freezer, which is set to fridge right now, this is everything we did yesterday. We've got all our chicken that we processed, and then we've got our 3 turkeys right here that we processed. And we'll freeze those in a couple days. And then in this freezer, this is all the chickens that we ended up doing last time. And the funny thing is, from last year, we still got 4 turkeys froze from last year. And then we got one in here that we're thawing out to cook this week. So we still got plenty of turkey in the freezer. So I did end up weighing all the meat birds after we processed them. So I've got all the numbers here. So our biggest chicken ended up weighing in at almost 8.6 pounds, just over 8.5 pounds. That's a big chicken. And our smallest one was around 4.3 pounds. That's probably closer to what you're going to find in the grocery store is our smallest one. And we had an average weight of a little over 6 3/4 pounds average across all of them. So we butchered 20 chickens, total of 136.6 pounds of chicken. So 136.5 pounds of chicken that we had this time. Last time we ended up having, we had a couple more in that batch, but we had 146.5 pounds of chicken. So we ended up with just over 283 pounds of chicken in the freezer. And those 3 turkeys, the male ended up being the biggest. He was 26 pounds even. And then our smallest turkey, she was 16.7 pounds, which actually still is a pretty decent sized turkey. A total of a little over 62.5 pounds of turkey out of those 3. And that brings us to a grand total of just over 345 pounds of meat in the freezer that we grew, like essentially in our backyard, just in a little area right behind our house. So that ends up being almost a pound of meat a day for an entire year. So we definitely, I think, have a year's supply of white meat in the freezer. So I just ran the numbers on the cost. We bought 50 chicks for $175. We bought 800 pounds worth of feed for $192. So total cost to raise the chickens was $367. 283 pounds worth of meat comes out to about $1.30 a pound. And yeah, that's better than what I thought it was. I think that's probably cheaper than what you can get at the grocery store. Of course, we are doing all of the labor involved with raising them and butchering them, but $1.30 a pound, and we got a freezer full of meat. I'm good with that. So all these coolers are full of bleach water. Try not to get it on us. Oh, there you go. Oh, my shoes are wet now. So now that the pasture's planted, I can focus back on fencing. So I'll probably start working on the pasture fencing again. I may go back and work on the corral project a little bit more, but that's probably where my focus is going to turn to over the next few weeks. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to be it for this video. I think we'll probably have to wait like probably 3-4 weeks before we have a better idea on how the pasture is actually going to turn out. We'll see how much of the seed actually germinated, and then hopefully the weather will cool down. I'm preferably like in the 70s, and get a little bit more rain, and the grass will take off and start growing. But yeah, I think it's going to be several weeks before we really know how this all turned out. But I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.